Sober living landlord problems. Okay, these are my luxury problems that I'm dealing with today. It is a luxury problem. It's a problem, huge pain in the ass. So if you're going to be opening up a sober living home, you can either buy a home and turn it into a sober living home. And obviously that means that you need to have the money, the funds, the resources, the financing available to buy a home. Or if you're like me, or how I was when I first got started, I didn't have the credit, didn't have the resources, didn't have the financing, didn't have anybody that was willing to offer me financing. So I leased my homes. Actually, I owned one home and I happened to own that home prior to starting the sober living. But then my next several homes, I leased them because leasing a home, it's much quicker and you can get into a home faster. You can get it opened faster. It takes less money, less resources to actually get into a home. I mean, you need to make sure that you're 100% transparent, which I was always 100% transparent when opening up my sober living homes. And right now we have 4 sober living homes that are open currently at the time of this recording. 3 of the 4 we own, and one of them we're leasing, and we've been in a 5-year lease. And so when we first got into the home, it was 2018. And I remember when I first got into this lease, it was a sober living home before us. And the sober living operator, I'm not even going to say his name, I remember talking with him and he was like, bro, good luck. That landlord is effing crazy. She's nuts. Good luck. And I remember when I went to go sign, when I did the walkthrough before I actually signed the lease, she switched up the lease on. I mean, there were a bunch of things that she did, all huge red flags. So it's like she showed me who she was before we actually moved in. And I made the decision as a sober person, thinking clearly. I was, 2018. So I was 7 years sober at that time. And I made the decision to move forward anyways, even though she showed her true colors. She was going to be really difficult to work with. We signed a lease anyways, and there were escalation, like every single year the rent increased. So, and in 2020, 2021, the rental rates in Scottsdale just skyrocketed, but we were still under this contract. And she's done so many crazy things over the years. And I remember my first couple of years, I would get so angry. I would stay up at night thinking about her and how I was going to hurt her. I mean, all the crazy things I was going to do and what I was going to say and how I was going to make her look bad, And I remember just thinking, oh man, this is not good when I'm thinking all of these bad things about another person. So that's how I know my spiritual fitness was not 100%, was when I was thinking all of those crazy things, because it's none of my business what other people think of me. That's one thing. The other thing to think about is I'm powerless over people, places, and things. So her actions, what she says, what she does, it doesn't have anything to do with me. And I knew who she was. What is it, Maya Angelou, that says, when people tell you who they are, believe them. And that was the case here. She showed me who she was. And obviously, I think I did believe her. However, I made the decision anyways to move forward with the lease because it was a great house. It was in a great location. We were licensed by DHS. I mean, everything was a good house, and it's been a great house. Hindsight being 2020, knowing what I know today about how just crazy she is, and I'm not going to say her name because I want to say her name. I want to tell everybody who she is because she's nuts. And if you're thinking about opening up a sober living home, and our lease on this house ends in August of 2023, I'm really looking forward to it. And she is probably going to reach out to potential sober living owners, I would say. And so if this landlord reaches out to you, and this is a house in North Scottsdale, you're welcome to call me. I'd be happy to share with you my experiences with her, because she's done everything from, she tried to evict us. And her reasons for evicting us, and basically she wanted more money. That's what she wanted. Rental rates increased. She didn't take into consideration, we were great tenants. We've been great tenants. We've totally taken care of her house. and we've helped a lot of people. We've saved a lot of lives, and we took care of her house, and she's been nothing but a nightmare to work with, and zero vacancy. So yeah, okay, rental rates had increased and they had gone through the roof, but she had zero vacancy at that house. Like, we were there, we always paid rent, and we never missed a payment. We always took care of our responsibilities. The home is immaculate, and our sober living program is set up to where we do a great job taking care of our homes. Our neighbors love us. All of our other landlords love us. She's the only one that doesn't, and mainly she just wants more money. And I don't know what her deal is. I mean, I think she must be struggling in other areas. I mean, like, she's a sick individual, and that's really what I chalk it up to. And like I said, my first couple of years, I just remember I would get so angry and stressed out. I'd lose sleep. I'd share at meetings about her. Everybody would laugh, and I could find the humor in it. But after a couple of years, I remember just thinking, man, I signed up for this. I knew who she was. And so from that point on, and she would kind of throw some crazy fit about once or twice a year. And I just got to a point where it kind of became comical. And it's like, of course she's trying to evict us. Of course she's taking us to court. Of course. I mean, I remember one time the AC went out in the house, and the AC, I don't remember how, it was like a 5-ton unit, and it pushed a capacity of, I don't know, 50,000 units per hour or something like that. That's probably incorrect. But the AC broke down. It was August. It was one of the hottest summers ever, and took a couple weeks to actually fix the AC. Like, she wasn't able to get somebody out there. She wanted to use her home warranty. I ended up purchasing 5 portable AC units, and the guys that were in the house, they were like, hey, we'll deal with it. We got these portable AC units. Our rooms are nice and cool. And we're like, okay, because we would have moved them, but they didn't want to move. They loved the house. They're like, we'll just deal with it. They didn't understand it's going to take 2 weeks. And she refused to reimburse me for these portable AC units that I bought. She said, nope, I didn't approve that. I'm not doing it. And it's like, okay. And again, it's kind of like, just kind of laugh, because of course she's not going to reimburse us. Of course she's not going to take responsibility for it. And what she also did is, the AC unit that she had installed was not sufficient to cool the house. And the HVAC contractor, who's also a friend of Bill, actually, he said, listen, man, this HVAC unit is not sufficient for this house. I told her it's not sufficient for the house. It pushes about 15% less air. And she had done multiple additions onto the house. So the AC unit we had was barely making it as it was. And she finally agreed, and she had to purchase another unit, because the one unit wasn't sufficient. And I don't know, she may have tried. She basically, it was like pulling teeth getting her to get the AC fixed. In Arizona, it was 115 degrees every single day for like 30 days in a row. I mean, it was over 100 degrees for like 30 days in a row, something crazy, record-breaking heat. Okay, and then she also, during that period of time, a grapefruit tree died. And it was like a 30-year-old grapefruit tree. She tried to hold us responsible for it. She said, I want you to replace my grapefruit tree. And so a mature 30-year-old grapefruit tree, which is like, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that. And I told my landscaper's like, what? She's crazy. That grapefruit tree it was a grapefruit, some sort of a citrus tree. It was grapefruit or fruit or orange. My landscaper said, she's crazy. Like, that grapefruit tree was never doing well. And it died because it died. And some fruit trees last a long time and some don't. And this one lasted like 30 years, and that's it. Okay, so she tried to evict us. Over, and she said that we didn't take care of the yard, and the grapefruit tree died. She wanted the grapefruit tree replaced. She said there was a brick walkway leading up to the front door. This is me. I don't know if I'm complaining or I'm just sharing. And this is just my experience with a landlord. So this is what happens when you deal with a crazy landlord. And it doesn't really matter if it's a sober living home or some other kind of home. When you're running a sober living business, it's a little bit crazy when you have a crazy landlord. So the walkway leading up to the front door was brick. There's a tree over here. And with trees, then you have the branch that grows the stump underneath grows, and you could see the walkway was buckling up. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but buckling up. She claims that we dropped something heavy on it and caused the damage, and she wanted us to replace the walkway. And contractor looks at it and says, yeah, she's crazy. There's no way that this is from that tree over there. And of course, she again didn't want to take responsibility for it. There was a fountain in front of the house, and the fountain was like a cement fountain. And at one point she had painted the fountain like a brass or gold color. And then it was like cement color. I mean, who knows when she painted it. It was like, I don't know how many years ago, before we moved in. And this was, it's 2023 now. And it was painted before we moved in. So maybe, over 5 years ago. And now it's faded. We're in Arizona. It's 115 degrees. It's on the south side of the house. It's in the sun. And so that paint's no longer there. She said that we whitewashed her fountain and that she wanted it repainted. There was also on the south side of the house by the garage, there's some, the house has not been painted in, 10 years. And it's flaking because it needs to be repainted. And she said that we crashed into the house. It's like, no, we didn't crash into the house. House just needs to be painted. There were a couple other things. And the judge basically looked at her and said, lady, you're nuts. Like, these are not reasons. I think the judge was just trying to be nice. These are not reasons to evict somebody, basically. So that happened. We made it through that. But again, it's we're just over here, my team and I, we're all just looking at each other going, man, this is a good test of my spiritual fitness. This is how I know if I'm doing good or if I'm not doing good. Most recently, we offer a treatment center. Or we offer clinical services, and the clinical services are provided at our outpatient treatment center. So we have people that live in the sober living house and they're attending outpatient treatment at the treatment center. And she thinks that we're offering treatment at the house, which is not true. We don't offer treatment. It's sober living. Our homes have always been sober living homes, and our clients have always gone to outpatient treatment. And that's how our program works. It's never been different. And before, they used to go to outpatient treatment somewhere else. Now they go to outpatient treatment at one of our homes. So she files a complaint with the Department of Health Services, and she's like, I found out that you're offering treatment and we can do this publicly or elegantly. You're going to go down. You're probably going to go out of business, blah, 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 blah. And of course, she calls DHS. DHS comes out, does their full inspection, and DHS is like, you guys are good, man. You guys are solid. Like, we have all of our ducks in a row. We do an amazing job. We cross the T's, we dot the I's. Like, we're helping a lot of people. And so I guess this is just information for someone that's trying to open up a sober living home. Should you buy? Should you rent? And is your spiritual fitness good? And remember, being clean and sober, it's all about keeping my side of the street clean, doing the next right thing. God's in control. I'm not in control. And as long as I do the next right thing, like, hey, we'll see what happens. And I feel good. My team feels good. We all feel good because we're providing a good service. And if you have the resources, when you have the resources, I would recommend buying a home if you want to turn it into a sober living home. And I mean, in 2020, when COVID hit, we were actually, we had probably 6 homes open at the time when COVID hit, and our price point's a little bit higher, not because we just charge more money. Our price point's higher because we provide more services. Many people think that they looked at our prices and they thought we were just ripping people off, which is not the case. We were actually providing more services. And if you're going to get into the sober living business, regardless of what your price point is, you're not getting into the business to make a killing. Let me just tell you that. The play, it's a real estate play. You want to own the real estate so that the sober living clients, the sober living business pays your mortgage. That's how you're going to create wealth. And for me, I remember when COVID hit, I mean, we were doing really well. We had some great referrents. We had a reputation across the country, nationwide, and people would send their family members to Scottsdale to get clean and sober and stay at Camelback Recovery and stay in one of our homes. And when COVID hit, even though mental health and addiction was spiking across the country, people weren't traveling across the country to get sober. People weren't coming to Scottsdale to get sober. People were staying home. So that affected us. Treatment centers, their capacity was cut in half typically for most of the treatments. And we had a few treatment centers that specifically sent us most of their clients, and their capacity was cut in half. So that really affected us. And people thought it was safer to stay in an Airbnb or in a hotel as opposed to a sober living home. And our clients, because our price point was a little bit higher, they were, they're not staying in our sober living home to save money. They're staying in our sober living home because they want to heal. They want to get better. They want accountability, support, structure, community, all of the things that should be provided by a sober living home. So my advice, and if I were to do it again, I would have purchased the homes earlier. I guess at the beginning, I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the credit, and I didn't know if this sober living business thing was going to work. And now that we're offering clinical services, we're able to help more people. We're saving more lives. And I mean, we have a solid reputation, doing the next right thing, being in recovery. I love what I get to do today. And I love that we get to help people. And every once in a while, I get thrown a curveball, but I know how to handle it. And as long as my spiritual fitness is in check, I'm going to be okay.
If you found this video to be of value, be sure to like it, subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos, leave a comment if you have a question, if you've got something to say. Camelback Recovery provides treatment services for people struggling with mental health, mental illness, addiction, alcoholism. So if you or someone you know is struggling, be sure to reach out to us. You can go to our website, camelbackrecovery.com, or our information is in the comment section below. And we provide everything from detox, inpatient, outpatient treatment, sober living, recovery coaching, sober companion services. So either we'll be able to help you or we'll be able to refer you to people or treatment centers that might be a better fit. So I will see you in the next video.